Hey everyone, thanks again for tuning into Sin's Workshop. Hope you're having a wonderful day. So, today we're going to be talking about The Iron Flower by Lori Forrest. This is the second novel in the Black Witch Chronicles, and if you saw my review for The Black Witch, you know that I already love that book. So I had lots of high expectations for this book, and it really did fulfill those expectations. I think one of the best things about this novel is how Lori is able to really address a lot of real world issues within her story. I mean, this novel deals a lot with racism, cultural prejudices, you name it, it's there. The Gardnerians are the mages, and right now they are, the top of the food chain as far as societies are, or cultures and people are concerned, right? But there was a point when, they were kind of like slaves or mistreated by the Celts, and I think what Lucas Gray points out in this novel, and it really stuck with me, and I didn't take a whole lot of notes when I was reading it because I was like so engrossed in it. But Lauren challenges him. She's just like, because she is drawn to him. They have the same affinity lines, dryads, so they can't really lie to each other either. And she asks him, she's like, do you agree with what the new High Mage is doing? Because he's a fanatic. I would, comparing him to Hitler is not a stretch. He really is all about the purity of his race, the Gardnerians, right? And Lucas is like, no, I don't agree. He's a fanatic. I don't even believe in our religion. He's very much a practical, realistic character. The thing is, he's still carrying out the orders, and she's like, why? Why are you carrying out the orders if you don't agree with them? He's like, they're my orders. And he's like, and right now, they're the winning side. He's like, have you not read history? Every group of people has abused another group of people. And Lauren makes another strong point. She's like, that doesn't make it right. And he's like, you're right, it doesn't. But it is the pattern. So unless we can break the pattern, I just kind of want to be on the winning side. And he speaks as, it doesn't make him an unlikable character. It makes him practical. It makes him realistic. You still kind of really like him as a character. I did, even though I didn't really agree with his sentiments. But he's a survivor. He just wants to survive. He just won't agree. He's not going to go out of his way to harm innocent people. In fact, he'll do the opposite. And you see that in The Black Witch. He'll do the opposite and make threats so that the people will better protect themselves. And he points that out to Lauren. He's just like, yeah, I said that because if anyone else comes, they're not going to do what I did. They're going to take that little girl and send her off to be a slave. He's like, so I'm reminding them they need to be more careful. And Lauren's like, oh, so I guess you're not a total a-hole. And he's not, he's just practical. And I think he just doesn't have something really worth fighting for. Again, he's at the top of the food chain. It really doesn't affect him, so he really doesn't need to care that much. Granted, he does care about innocent people getting hurt and slaughtered. He's not for that. He doesn't agree with it at all. But again, he's one man. And the other people, the Celts, the Amans, the Selkies, the Lupine, they're not 100% willing to accept Gardnerians into their ranks of the rebel forces. They're really not. When Lauren's just like, no, I want to help, literally, they threaten to kill her several times. And she's like, let me help. They're like, no, we don't like you. And there's more to it because she is the granddaughter of the former Black Witch. So there is a lot more baggage as to why they really are opposed to her, but they really don't have a strong trust of Gardnerians to begin with. And it really does, in a way, limit their resources if they're not willing to open their ranks. Granted, I understand that you never know who's going to be a spy. You never know who's going to turn on them. You never know who's going to get scared. Their allies within the Gardnerians are very few and far between. They tend to rely on their own kind, other, I guess, minorities, you could call them. And I really like, again, how Forrest really deals with the racism and prejudices in the story. It really does. For me, it makes me think. And I love a novel that makes you think without just being like super heavy, because it's not. There are scenes, don't get me wrong. There are some really powerful scenes. There are lots of allusions to abuse, and that's another thing I like. I don't always need to see the abuse to understand that the abuse is happening. If you write it in an impactful way, you can get the same kind of emotive response from the reader. And it did, in Forrest's case, There are subtle scenes in the structures, and you're just like, it's cringe, because it's just like, it's so realistic and it's kind of horrifying, but she doesn't really go into details. She's just like, I'm leaving it to your imagination. And of course you're going to imagine the worst. And that's what she wants you to do. That is her intent, and it makes the scene and it makes the storytelling even more powerful. And a lot of those scenes deal with the Selkies. They are women, they can't really speak, they're from the ocean, they're drawn to the land, they don't really want to go to the land. And they are taken advantage of and abused to such horrifying lengths, and it's terrifying. And you're just like, this does mirror real life, in a way. But again, that's what makes it a good story for me. It's not super, super heavy, but it does deal with a lot of realistic themes in a really fantastical medium, and it really just makes you love Lauren even more when you see her emotive response to these things. Like, she is just becoming fiercer and fiercer and fiercer and more rebellious and more, I hate my own people because of how horrible they are. So it really does lend to a lot of good character development and a lot of character growth as far as Lauren's concerned. Another thing that I also thought was really powerful was this idea of unity, okay? Again, you have all the cultures. They each have their own different belief systems, and they butt heads a lot on their belief system. But this is what makes it impactful. They know they have to stand together against the Gardnerians. They know it. They know they have to find a way to work together, even though they don't agree at all with one another. Not really. But I think what we're seeing in the story is, no, they don't agree. They all have their own religious beliefs. They all have their own cultural beliefs. They don't have to compromise their own beliefs in order to help one another. And what comes from that is a really nice, healthy respect for one another. It's like, okay, I don't agree with your religion, but, I'm looking at your society. I see how it benefits your society. I'm not going to set my toe on it. I'm going to respect your beliefs while I am in your home. End of story. And it goes back and forth, They don't always like each other. They don't always get along, but they do respect one another, and they do respect one another's beliefs, even though it's just like, yeah, I think your belief system is wrong, but okay, whatever. That's your belief system. Point in case the Amalas women, they don't want men in their ranks, but they make concessions. They're just like, okay, for the betterment of everyone else and to help so that they don't leave innocent girls, mostly, and innocent children, at the hands of violence. They let some men into their home, even though it's not allowed, in order to help those that need help. So, you know, they make their concessions, you know, they make the compromises. There's a lot of good that comes from them learning to respect one another. And that's what I love about the book. You know, it has this really profound message of, hey, we don't always have to believe the same crap, but how about we just respect one another and respect each other's belief system? I'm not going to try to convert you to my way. You don't try to convert me to your way. Let's just get along. And I like that message. I really do, you know. I like the message that Forrest is going for in her story, and I love her character development. I love the pacing because I mean, it's not that long. It moves really quickly. It really does. Let me look at right here. Let's look at the book real quick. All right, those are the acknowledgments. Here we go. 598 pages, and what also worked really well was how she has these Mage Council rulings break up, you know, I think they're either after every chapter or every other chapter or every few chapters. It doesn't matter. They don't hinder the pacing of the story. They add to the context of the world building, and I really think it's good. You're, you know, chapter, ooh, Mage Council. And you're just like, oh crap, this is happening. How is this going to affect the story? It doesn't take you out of the story. In fact, it draws you deeper into the story as you're seeing the politics of this story evolve even more. I mean, the story is full of so many layers. You know, you're dealing with politics. You have character growth. You're dealing with prejudices and racism. You're dealing with respect of religion. I mean, Forrest has done a spectacular job with this series so far. I mean, this is only book 2, and yeah, I own books 3 and 4. They're on my bookshelf. I'm gonna read them, and I'm looking forward to number 5, which she just released a new working title, so I'm really excited. But you know, you can tell by her storytelling that she's a very thoughtful writer. She is very thoughtful in her storytelling. You know, there are lots of complex themes in there, but it reads really well. It's very accessible to the reader. It's really smooth. It has perfect fluidity. It has good pacing, good story development. I even like the love triangle. You know, is that tropey? Yes, but it works because she forms friendship with both of these characters, and you're just like, and they both have their pros and they both have their cons, and you're just like, I don't really know. Can they just have a polyamorous relationship at this point? Sorry, but yeah, I mean, it's great, honestly. I have to give this book 4.5 to soft 5. Out of 5 stars. It really is exceptional. It really is memorable. It doesn't drag. It moves really quickly. It evolves very well. It has really strong development. It has lots of layers to the storytelling that really just build off of one another to create an even bigger scope for the story. So, yeah, I mean, there's not really a lot negative. I can't say anything negative about it. It's an exceptional novel. And so, once again, 4.5 soft 5 out of 5 stars for The Iron Flower. Please, if you are going to purchase the book, please purchase from your local bookseller or online book retailer versus purchasing off of Amazon. You've got Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, Bookshop.org, IndieBound, Book Outlet, Book Depository, and Better World Books. I will include a couple links in the description below. And on that note, I hope you all continue to support me here by liking this video, subscribing to my channel, and sharing it with all your book-loving friends. Hope you all have a great rest of your day, and as always, happy reading.